Hi everybody, I'm Mark Murphy from Dingle Cookery School here in the southwest coast of Ireland. We believe that if you focus on the techniques of cooking, you'll become a better cook and you'll enjoy your cooking a lot more. For today's recipe, what we're going to do is we're going to cook a beautiful ribeye steak and we're going to put a lovely simple sauce with it. Everything is going to happen in the one pot. So what we're going to do is make sure that your pan is nice and hot. What we're going to do then is we're going to season the meat, okay? Very, very important that we season everything that we cook before we cook it. Now, once we're ready, what I'm going to do now is, pan is nice and hot. You can see that there's a little bit of smoke starting to come from it. That's ideal. Little bit of oil in there, and the oil only goes in just before you're ready to cook. Now, what we're going to do now is get your steak in there. Again, touch the oil and let it push it off a little bit to the front of the pan. What you want to do when you're cooking steak or meat, you want to have the pan nice and hot. How I'll always know that the pan is nice and hot is you hear that noise from there. That means that it's cooking over a nice high heat. Why we want that is that's going to help the meat go nice and brown. When you're cooking any type of meat, what you want to do is try and break it into 3 stages. What we always say here at the cookery school is your first one, take it out of the fridge and bring it up to room temperature before you cook it. That's going to help that you don't overcook it. Your second stage is the actual cooking, but the other stage is letting it to rest. That comes later on. So what we want to do is leave it alone here. Sometimes a mistake that people have is they're moving it around, but remember, if we start moving around, it starts to cool down. So remember at all stages that you're trying to get a nice high heat. That's going to help to brown the meat. So remember that you're always in control of your cooking. So we're trying to get a nice brown color on it here. So if you're not sure when that is, don't be afraid to take a little sneak look, and we can see that that's going nice and brown now. It's where I want it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the steak and just turn it over. And now you can see that that's got a lovely brown colour. That's going to give it that lovely sort of caramelization on it. And that doesn't happen unless your pan is very, very hot. So what we want to do now is, we want to let that cook for maybe another 2 minutes, and then we're going to let it rest. So it's up to you to figure out if you want what temperature you want your steak cooked. Do you want it rare, medium, or well done? The only way you're going to figure that out is every time you cook, don't be afraid to press just in the center. What we're looking for is the longer I cook it, the harder it's going to be. So it's going to be more well done. So if this is nice and soft as it is now, it's just where it is now, it's just gone a little past rare, somewhere heading in towards medium. So don't ever be afraid to touch it, and every time you cook, touch it as well, and you'll start to learn yourself. So we can see that where that is now, that's nice and medium, and that's probably where we want this one to be. Now, what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to take it off the heat, and we're going to allow this to rest just for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. A simple rule of thumb is try and rest it for half the amount of time you're cooking it. So I'm going to take that off the pan and allow that to rest. That simply just means leave it aside and leave it there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. A general rule is it should be about half the time it took to cook it. Now, what we're going to do in the meantime, while that's resting, we're going to make a very, very simple sauce. Now, what I want to do is I want to take out maybe the excess oil that's in there, okay? And keep your pan sort of at a nice medium temperature. The sauce that we're going to make is just get some butter in there. That's going to start to melt, but don't let it go brown, or don't let it burn on you. So just move it around the pan just like that. We're going to get a little bit of capers in there as well. A little bit of garlic, and try to always keep your sauces nice and simple. We're going to put a little bit of parsley in there as well, and that'll just give it a nice bit of freshness. Now, all you have to do with that is just move it around. I've taken it off the heat, and the smell is just incredible. The butter is melted. So one thing I want you to do at this stage is give it a nice squeeze of lemon. That's going to give it a little bit of acidity, but it's also going to stop your butter from from burning on you. So now you're going to see that when we look at this, beautiful, you've got a lovely brown butter, a little bit of caper in there, a little bit of garlic, And that's ready. We're happy enough that that's ready to go over your steak just now. So now that my steak has rested, all I'm going to do now is we're going to just pop that steak onto your plate. And by allowing it to rest, it just allows some of that extra juice to come right from the center, right out to the outsides. So I'm just going to take your steak, put it onto the center of your plate, and all we have to do now is spoon a little bit of our sauce over that. So how easy is that? You just see that. Just pour that over it. Now, so a little bit of sauce just around it. So there you have it, a very easy way to cook a steak with a very, very easy sauce to go with it.